this episode, we build an infinite lava source using Create to completely fix our lava power issues. We progress through Mekanism to make the quantum Entangloporter to move our lava around wirelessly. Go to the end to get Dragon's Breath. Create a food with an effect that makes it so we never have to eat again. And mess around with JustDireThings tools and armors. You guys caught me in the middle of building a lava pit. We're having issues with our power generation. You know, all those fluid drawers we set up, they still do not provide enough lava for just even 9 of those magmators. So complete waste of time. I am committed at this point though to the magmators just because they do produce so much more power than anything else from Power. Like, I mean, I guess besides their reactors, which we could probably set up too, honestly, now instead of the magmators, but anyways, I'm going to do this just to show it to you guys too for lava. The spirited one generates 8,000 Fe per tick, and even like thermos, it's 800 Fe per tick. And if you put that on a block of blazing crystal, that's going to be 2.5 times the amount of power. So, or 2.8 times the amount of power, which is only like a little bit over 2,000 Fe per tick. So the magmators produce more than 4 times the amount of power that the thermogenerators do. So that is why I've been trying to use those. Typically, it's really easy because you just set down the create hose pulleys inside of the nether, and you have infinite free lava, and you just get tons of power. But obviously, we don't have lava in the nether, so I'm going to have to do this. I am making a pit, and we're going to fill this with lava, and if it's 10,000 blocks of lava, then we should be okay. So we've got a little box, and if I press F9 to enable a chunk overlays, you can see that this is all contained within one chunk, and I have force loaded this chunk. Now we want to fill this thing up with lava, and I've gone down just far enough where this will be a 10,000 block pit of lava. I don't think that we actually have to use source lava for the whole thing. I've been told, I haven't tested myself, but I've been told that even if you just place flowing lava just on this top row, that it should still work and register. It is a reported bug, but it hasn't been fixed in a long time, like over a year. So maybe it'll never get fixed, but just in case, I'm gonna just go ahead and place lava, 10,000 blocks of lava inside of this whole thing. So let's set up our hose pulleys. And if you guys didn't know, the hose pulleys can actually also fill pits. They don't just pull. So we are going to put them down over here, like so. And I've got 7 of them for no particular reason. 7 is a little bit overkill. But since my other 2 setups were such underkill setups, I wanted to do this one a little bit overkill. We do want to make sure that this is on the same side though, like that. And then, so these hose pulleys are pretty easy to make. You need copper plates, which you can do with the ore hammer. Dried kelp block, you get kelp from sifting, and the copper casing, you basically just take any kind of wood and you strip the wood, and then you right click it with a piece of copper and it'll give you the copper casing. This is really, really basic create stuff. Once you have that, you can make this hand crank, which is just planks and andesite alloy. That also has a simple recipe. And you can put these hand cranks on the hose pulleys, and you can crank these guys all the way down to the bottom of this pit. So these hose pulleys have all been lowered down to the bottom. Let's go check the progress on our drawer that's filling up with lava. So I did put this fluid drawer here. It has 8.3 thousand buckets of lava in it. I do need a bit more, 2,000 more. Let's go back, and I can show you in the meantime this construction stick. I have a angel core inside. So if you take a look at construction sticks, you can see there's all these upgrades for it. And I have the battery template one. So this one actually works off of RF. It doesn't have durability anymore. You can make the unbreakable template, which is really cool, but that requires another star that we don't have. So I went with the battery one. And then the angel stick one allows you to, if you open up the thing, you can switch to angel mode and place a block in your offhand. And this allows you to place a piece of block in midair. So you can place like that and then build off of it. Very useful for things like a void world. Now, when you look at the tooltips for these upgrades, it says that you need to apply the template to your stick in a smithing table. But if you try to do that, you'll notice that it doesn't work. That's because if you press U on it, it requires some other things. So the angel block requires a piece of feather to upgrade it. The destruction stick needs a diamond block. This one needs I have Ender, the replacement tool, so it replaces the blocks. So you have to press U and check what kind of blocks each one takes before you do it in the smithing table. It won't work if you just put the template in there. All right, that should be enough. All right, so over here, let's see if this works. I haven't even actually tried with Super Factory Manager before, but we're gonna do that and put our barrel down. We can put our manager somewhere along the way, and every 20 ticks we are going to input the fluid from drawer and output 1500 fluid to each hose pulley. Right, these guys are full, and you can see they are actually starting to fill this hole. This hole is slowly going to get filled up, and then once it's full, we'll have infinite lava. Again, I have been told that you can just do flowing lava, so only put lava on the first row. But since that is a bug and maybe it'll get patched at some point, I am going to fill this whole thing up with lava. And once that does happen, then we will have infinite lava, or yeah, an infinite lava pool, because these hose pulleys consider a 10,000 source block of a fluid to be an infinite amount, and they won't actually use up the source blocks in there as they're pulling from it. So that's why they're nice. So basically immediately after talking to you guys, this thing stopped working. And I don't exactly know what the problem is. It basically filled one layer and then it stopped after that. And I don't have the goggles to check things, and no more lava is moving. Even though all the hose pulleys are full of lava, they're not actually putting more down. So I am going to try this fluid plenisher from Mekanism. And we're just going to put this down and we give this guy some power, and we need to fill it up with some fluids. But I'm going to put these upgrades in there. So the energy and the speed upgrades. And now we are going to put it in the plenisher. And I believe, let's see. That has no side configuration, so that probably means the top side is the only place we can put it. So let's see if this guy will work. He's full of lava and he's starting to place it all. Looks like this guy's working much faster. Now, while this is going, it's getting filled up very nicely. So the fluidic plenisher is definitely the way to go, the hose pulleys. Now that we're going to have our lava production set up in the nether, I want to be able to move that to other places. We could just move our magmators to the nether and then it'll just be set up there. But I also want to be able to tap into that lava, like put it inside of my applied energistic system, or if there's any other setup that I want to set up that requires lava, we should be able to use the lava from there. We could use ender tanks in order to move that lava. The only problem is these ender tanks have a very small capacity on the inside. So I want to use quantum entangloporters. So the ender tanks have a 16 bucket capacity and these guys have a 256 bucket capacity. So they're much nicer. But in order to make this, we're going to have to progress a bit through Mekanism. And my goal for the next few minutes is to bulk craft a bunch of these resources for Mekanism. So we won't have to touch it again until we have applied energistics properly set up with auto crafting, and then we'll put all that on auto crafting in. So I'm going to bulk craft a bunch of these resources so that we can make whatever mechanism thing that we need to until we have applied energistics set up. So to begin, you guys have already seen this, but I'm going to make more of those metallurgic infusers. So just right over here, I'm going to put down some cables and put a gate on it to power all those. And I've got 4 of these metallurgic infusers going. Basically, the tiered system and mechanism involves these alloys. So you have like the red one, the blue one, and the purple one. So the purple one is the highest tier. And you also have these circuits. So with these items, that's how you kind of make the higher tier mechanism stuff, like the higher tier factories, as well as the quantum Entangloporter uses the ultimate control circuit stuff. And the way you make those, we're going to start with the alloys. And this is all done inside of the metallurgic infuser. So there's some kind of a infusion material, and it's different for each tier, but it starts off with redstone, and then you put in copper or osmium, and then you get infused alloy or the basic circuit. Okay. So if you put osmium, you get the circuit. If you put copper, you get the alloy. And as you can see, this one requires 20 millibuckets of redstone infusion. And when you click on that, this shows you all the different ways you can get that infusion material. If you just put a normal piece of redstone in there, you get 10 millibuckets. A block of redstone, 90 millibuckets. That's pretty predictable. But there's this enriched redstone that will actually give you 80 millibuckets. And that is just putting redstone inside of an enrichment chamber. So if you just put redstone in an enrichment chamber, you multiply your output of the infusion material by 8. So that is what we want to set up. But you can see to make it, you're going to need some basic control circuits to start. And then the steel ingot recipes have changed a bit. There was the one where you could combine 2 iron and 2 coal to give you ingot. That is no longer there, but you can still pretty much just as easily make the steel dust, and that requires the ore hammer, and it requires crushed dust, iron dust, and then 4 pieces of coal. So using that, I could make 2 stacks of iron dust and put that in there along with some coal and the hammer. And this will give us 2 stacks of steel that we can smelt up. All right, so let's start by first grabbing some redstone that we're going to put over here in the extra slot to build up our infusion material. And the first thing we want to make is those basic circuits, which requires osmium and 20 millibuckets. So that means I'm going to need 2 stacks of redstone for every stack of osmium. So we are going to put the osmium in there, and this guy is going to start making those circuits. Once we have a couple of those, we can now make the enrichment chamber. And if you have a couple more, you can immediately upgrade the enrichment chamber to the basic enriching factory. And the factories just offer more slots in it. So this guy has just 1 slot. The basic factory has 3 slots. We can turn on auto sort, and then when we put the redstone in here, the enriching factory is going to enrich it. So instead of getting 10 millibuckets of redstone as an infusion material, we're going to get 80 millibuckets. So that's going to help you save some redstone. Not that it really matters because we have almost 50,000 redstone, but it's just part of the mod. Now I want to also upgrade all of these infusers to the basic tier, and you can pick them up and craft them and put it back down, or you can make those tier installers. And it's the same exact recipe, but instead of putting the machine in the middle, you're putting the basic control circuits. So we'll need 4 of those, and we can just shift right click on all of these metallurgic infusers to turn them into factories that are going to do 3 consecutive crafts at a time. So this other enriched redstone I'm going to put in this second basic infusing factory, and we're going to do copper with that guy. So I'll do 3 stacks of copper, and that is going to give us the first tier of alloy. And then you can see the reinforced alloy is the same exact thing, but you put the infused alloy in there with diamond infusion material, which we get by just putting enriched diamond in there. So once this is done, I'm going to put diamonds in there to get the enriched diamond, put the enriched diamond inside of our third metallurgic infuser, and then we can put these alloys in here, and that'll give us the reinforced alloy. But actually, before I do that, you can see these machines are rather slow. So it would be in our best interest to speed it up a little bit so we don't have to wait so long. I'm going to do that right now, and we're going to need these infused alloys. And if you search Mechanism upgrade, you should be able to see speed and energy upgrades. The speed ones obviously make it faster. You need osmium dust for these, and the osmium dust you can just use a hammer to crush down, and each machine can take 8 of those. So let's grab some more osmium dust with our ore hammer. 27 will do, I guess. And once I have 8, I can put it inside of the machine. You can see this is going to go much, much faster. But now it's going to use a ton more power, so it's using 6,000 FE per tick. But if we make the energy one with crushed gold, this can also take 8. So it goes from 6,000 FE per tick to 600 FE per tick. So it's 10 times more power efficient. And now that this is working much faster, we can speed up all the rest of the machines and we'll have a much easier time. So we got 32 more of those upgrades, which we can put in the rest of the machines. And now these are all sped up to the max and have efficiency upgrades. So now progress is going to be very, very smooth. We're going to do even more osmium and copper. We're going to need a ton of these guys. And let's start with the diamonds. So those guys will get turned into enriched diamonds, and we can put the enriched diamond in our third infusing factory with these alloys. And then we're going to get the reinforced alloys. And if you don't like the noise of these machines, you can use your ESM settings to muffle the machines. Like you can see, here's the metallurgical infuser. So if I turn that off, they go silent. I don't love doing that when there is a muffling upgrade in here. So we just need some wool, and we can make these muffling upgrades to put inside of the machines. Now they're not going to make any noise. These control circuits can be upgraded inside of the metallurgical infuser, but it's much easier and cheaper actually to just do it in a crafting table. So you can just surround it with those infused alloys, and then it'll take you to the next tier. So that's how I'm going to take care of the higher tier circuits, just with the alloys. Now we have these reinforced alloys as well as the infused alloys, so we can make the higher tier add-on cards to upgrade them even more. So we're going to use the advanced tier installers, and then the elite ones, we just have to make some of those guys. And actually I need 5. Now, when we upgrade these to the advanced ones, you can see we get 2 extra slots. And when we do it again to the elite ones, we get 2 more slots, I believe, or 1 more. So now these can do 7 things at a time compared to the 3 we had before. And believe it or not, we are actually almost done with the full early game progression of Mechanism. The last thing we need is the purple stuff, and we're going to need a crusher for that. So let's grab some buckets because we will need some lava, and we're going to make a crusher and immediately upgrade it to the elite tier. We're also going to add the speed and energy upgrades for this guy, and what we want to do is crush some obsidian, and we're going to put the obsidian in there, and we're going to get obsidian dust. And we can take the obsidian dust and put it inside of our infusion factory with the diamonds. And that'll give us refined obsidian dust. And we can take this refined obsidian dust, run it through our enriching factory, and that's going to give us enriched obsidian. So now we can put the enriched obsidian in the extra slot of our last infusion factory and use those diamond alloys. These guys, and that'll give us atomic alloy, which is the highest tier. So that's it. That is going to give us all the highest tier stuff. There is one more thing we need to make for the quantum Entangloporter, which are these refined obsidian ingots, and that is done through an osmium compressor. So let's make an osmium compressor and upgrade it to the higher tier. We're going to put the compressor down, give it speed, energy upgrades, and muffle it. And now we can take more of the refined obsidian dust and put that inside of, instead of putting it in the enrichment chamber to get the enriched obsidian, which goes in here, we are going to put it inside of the osmium compressor with some osmium ingots. And it's going to combine those together to give us the refined obsidian ingot. So that now gives us everything to make the Entangloporter. We just need to make these teleport cores, 2 of them, because we're going to need 2 Entangloporters. And now we are ready to set these up to move lava between dimensions. I'm going to spend a couple more minutes here just crafting a bunch more of like all the tier alloys for Mekanism. That way we're going to have a little bit of a supply of those, so I don't have to go through and do this again until we have applied energistic setup. The reason why I'm making these instead of using Super Factory Manager is Super Factory Manager struggles a little bit when there are very small buffers inside of machines. Because it only does it every 20 ticks, you can sometimes run into bottlenecking with it happening once a second compared to other things that happen all the time. Looks like this thing has stopped. So maybe our thing is full. And we can grab our inventory cables and put these fluid pipes on the hose pulleys, going into a quantum Entangloporter. And we set up the quantum Entangloporter. We're going to call it lava for this channel. And in this channel, I'm going to turn everything off and go under fluids, and where this pipe is, it's going to be input for fluids, and I can see that that pipe connected, and we're going to put these guys on output, and you can see that now they are putting lava inside of the quantum Entangloporter, which is full of 256,000 buckets. And this achievement says tapping the mantle, which says pump from a body of lava large enough to be considered infinite. So I guess this did completely fill it up. So the fluidic thingy was great. I'm going to pick up our drawer as well. So this is set up here, and the quantum Entangloporter will wirelessly transport lava to wherever we want. So now we can go into this place and remove all these crappy fluid drawers. And all we have to do is just put a quantum Entangloporter here. We select the channel. Now it's set to that channel. Again, clear all the sides. And you see how it has all of these labels floating in the air? When you hover over this, it's going to say all those things are assigned in the world, but it's not used in the code. So if you shift click, it's going to erase all of those. Now, if I pull those labels again, you can see that it's gone. So shift clicking, it will erase the other labels. Oh, you know what I wanted to do actually is this one with the 6,000 buckets. We're going to put this guy here, and I want the Entangloporter to fill that. So we're going to output auto eject. We'll turn off the bottom side of that. So that should be putting lava in here. And then we're going to pull from the drawer actually, and that'll give us a very large buffer. So here's the drawer, and we get rid of the Entangloporter. So you can see that that label is gone now. And this will just fill this up, and we'll have 100,000 buckets of buffer. So now our lava issues are finally fixed. We don't have to worry about it anymore, and we can spam a bunch more of these magmators. So let's go out of here. And should we make more magmators? I'll make more magmators later. But we can now turn this thing back on and see how it works. And my drawer was filling up with all of these ingots. So instead of outputting the stuff there, I have it going in here, because these ones have maximum integer values. So they'll just fill up in here. All right, I want cross-dimensional access to my applied logistics system. So when we go to another dimension or whatever, that we can have access to that. And if we take a look at the dimension card is what we need. So that's going to require 4 nether stars. And then each one of these infinity boosters require 1 nether star each. So we're going to need 8 nether stars basically. So we'll have to kill the wither 8 times. And I think I'm going to utilize some of these spikes. So we'll make a bunch more of them. There we go, 60 of those, a little overkill. Now we do want to make another compact machine because if I spawn the wither here, that's going to be a little bit of a mess. So let's make one, and we don't want the tiny one. I think the small one will probably work okay for us. So we'll do the small one, and we need these skulls, which I believe I have a ton of over here. Doesn't seem like we were getting wither skeleton skulls from here. I think it was the hellish gateway. I can't get too far away from it, but maybe if I hide, it'll be okay. The blazes are slowly going down and they're taking damage too. That's nice. Now, as we are killing those guys, I want to train a hostile neural network thing so we don't have to do that again. So I will make a deep learner and 4 of these model frameworks. And you know what? This armor is fine, but we could make some refined obsidian armor and it'll be a little bit better. So we'll get rid of that armor and put on these guys. Let's go inside of this small compact machine and line the walls up with these spikes, especially the like tops, something like that should work. All right, then we are going to spawn the wither, and I wonder if we can't chunk load that and leave before he explodes. Because if I'm in there while he explodes, it's going to be a bad time. And how about those carrots or apple? We might grab some golden apples, just Alright, we go in there. He's already taken damage. I don't know if you guys missed it or not, but I grabbed the data models and put it inside of our deep learner. And I'm almost dead. Dang it. Oh, he died. Oh, shoot. Oh, and it worked for this. Huh. Huh. I wonder if all I have to do is just hit him once and leave. And then if he'll die. That would actually be kind of sick. Okay, let's try that. So we're going to go inside, spawn another one. Heck, we can spawn 2. Maybe that's a bad idea. And then leave. Wait for them to explode. We could have also just gone to the end and put them under the thing, but we're going to go inside, make sure we hit both of them, and then leave and watch this thing. And let's see if we'll get the kills for it. Or maybe I wonder if you have to be there. No, we got the kills. There's no way that works. Okay, that's crazy. Okay, we're gonna wait until the other guy dies too, and we'll be able to make the infinity booster. Let's go inside and attack them. And then we just wait. This was a happy accident, a nice little discovery with the spikes. I'm also going to try to not attack the wither. So I'm going to spawn the last one that I have. I'm going to spawn and then I'll just leave for a while and see if when it dies without me attacking it, if I'll get the credit too or not. I don't know how those spikes work exactly. it is confirmed you do not get the kill if you don't touch them. So I'm going to spawn 2 more withers just so I can train the data model. But while that's going, we can make our infinity booster now because we have the 8. All right, now we have the dimension card that we can put in here. And now look, 12 of these guys uses up 27 AE per tick, which if we switch to FE per tick, it's only 54. Let me put this guy just for 200 FE per tick. You have cross-dimensional wireless. We are done. So now we have a basic model. And when we set up hostile neural networks, we can just set up the withers straight away. So that is very exciting. I'm going to go inside of here and spend a very long time breaking down these spikes. All right, and while we're at it, I do want to get the, what is it called? The JustDireThings goose. I want to get this, the higher tier goose. We have the Blaze Gloom already, and I want the Void Shimmer, but that one requires Dragon's Breath, which we don't have. And the Dragon's Breath we can just get easily. We just have to go to the end, is what I'm trying to say. So the way you do that is by making the end cake, and we just need some crushed endstone. And we don't end stone because this thing is using it up. So right here where it says endstone, we can just put 2 lines to comment that out. And now this is going to build up. And we just need 3. And then we can let it go again. So here's the end cake, and let's grab some bottles. And we'll just put that guy over there. This end cake, by the way, when you first put it down, it's going to be very small. And then you put, I don't know if it's Eyes of Ender. I'm pretty sure it's Eyes of Ender. You can grow the cake to full size. And then every time you go inside of it, it'll take a bite out of the cake. So here we are in the end. And you can see we have access to our applied energistics. So I am going to spawn the dragon. We're not going to actually kill him. I just want him to spit some fire. Here we go. That should be enough. I am going to fly in a direction, yes, north, until we get to the end islands. I'm basically looking for a dragon head, and that'll allow us to make more of those breath things, dragon's breath. I guess we should also grab ender bees while we're here. I have a couple of cages. We just need 2 of those. So there's 1, and I think I saw some over here. Yeah. 2 ender bees. We can get into bees also. That's not too big of a deal. So I'm over here in the end, and we need to find an end city. I did kind of fly around just a tiny little bit, and I haven't found anything. So I was looking for the Explorer's Compass, and we don't have that. We don't have the Structure Compass anymore either. So in terms of compasses, we really don't have much. But what we can do is use the R's tablet of locate structure. So we need to create this thing, which requires a compass and a wayfinder. And if you press U on this, you can see all the different, so for end city, we need a purple block, and that'll show us where the end city is. So let's grab a purple block, and then we'll need a brazier. And this, oh, I don't have enough source. We do have the pedestal. I don't have, I need 2 more or 4 more source gems. We can just make it here. I can also go back, /home. And I should have these guys here still. Lapis. We'll automate this too at some point. There is that. We have our ritual brazier. And to go back, if you just teleported home, you could just go /back. Or if you also die and your grave is somewhere, you can still do /back. So it's very nice. The way this works is you put the brazier down. You put your tablet of locate structure inside. You kill the enderman bothering you. And then you can press Q to throw in the augmenting block. So in this case, it was the purple thing. And then it says awaiting activation. So when I right click, it gives me a wayfinder that's pointing me to the ancient or the end city 1,000 blocks in this direction. So instead of flying around aimlessly trying to find it, this will take us directly to one. Perfect. Here is the end city, just like our compass told us. No, oh, okay. I thought the head had glitched through the wall. This is what I want. The dragon head. Because you can put the Zycraft extractor on it, and you can make free dragon's breath. There's also a thing I didn't know, but Create has bulk ending. So you can convert stone things into end stone, or like leather into phantom membranes. It's interesting. Not that it's very useful. And while we're here, might as well grab an elytra. Maybe we should swap that guy. We need some wool. And a stick. He is swapped. And with that, we are ready to make our void shimmer glue. I just need some end stone. And we can upgrade to shadow pulse as well. And what we can do with this is grab some netherite. We have so much netherite. Right, grab a stack of those, and then we need to feed this guy Skulk. Same exact deal as before. I'm also making things, and then in between episodes, I'll make a bunch more of those magmators for power. So we're going to put our netherrack, feed this thing. I want to basically make the Eclipse Alloy Paxel. So we're going to need to make all 3 of those. And we'll do this a couple more times. And now we can make all the things. So it requires the pickaxe, axe, and shovel. Pickaxe, axe, and shovel. And we put that inside of the smithing table. We get the Eclipse Alloy Paxel. So now we can get rid of our osmium one and use this. And there's a few nice upgrades that we can grab from there. So this thing runs off of energy, so it's never going to break. But we do want to put some upgrades on there. So let's take a look at what's available. Tree feller would be good. So let's make a tree feller upgrade. We'll need more of those. So let me make some more iron blocks. Oh, and I did also get these boots that have stable footing on them. And stable footing is nice because when we're flying, we don't mind slower. So if we just grab an anvil and some books. We can actually put this on. And I guess while we're at it, we can just make the Eclipse Alloy armors. Let me just do that. I'm giving JustDireThings another chance. I've used it in the past before, like the armor specifically, and I didn't love it, but I'm going to give it another chance. Let's put stable footing on our boots. Now we won't mind slower. So I've been messing around with some of the JustDireThings for a little bit, and I have step assist on the boots, and it's conflicting, I guess, with this one. Let's see if I press my keybind. You can set keybinds. Just search options, controls, keybinds, category, search JustDireThings, and then you can set the ones to like open up the tool settings. And if I take a look at this, so my step assist should be enabled. I don't know why it's not working anymore. But I do have the phase shift one I was trying. It's supposed to allow you to phase shift through walls. And if I'm like against this thing right here, I can hold space and it lets me like phase through the walls. But I can't phase through the floor and I can't like phase up. So it's only like literally walls and it doesn't work if you're flying. So if I'm like flying over here and I want to go do something inside of here, I can't phase through. And it seems that that phase ability is also messing with our step assist, which I'd rather have than like a half working phase mode. So if I click on that to disable phase, let's see. So now that's disabled and my step assist is working again. Interesting. So I would recommend just looking through some of these things, and if you hold shift, it'll tell you kind of what it does, and go and look through some of those things. I have mind fog also, which, you know, reduces the aggro range, I guess, for monsters being able to see you. I also got the lava immunity, so we can be in, but anyways, those are just a couple things. I do want to also make the JustDireThings hoe, the Eclipse hoe. And this thing is cool. I'm going to make the teleport drop upgrade for the hoe and put that on there in the smithing table. And I think we can shift right click. So now it's bound to our storage controller. And then we can hoe some farmland, like let's say for these carrots, like this one, and it turns it into Shadow Pulse soil. Now, when I plant these carrots and you shift to grow them, it auto harvests and then it disappears, and those carrots are going inside of our system. So that's really nice. And I wonder if it works with saplings. No, because saplings don't grow on farmland. That would have been cool, huh? You can just... Wait a minute. No way. Yeah, it doesn't work. And then the tree... What was it called? On our Paxel, we have the tree feller. No. So you break the whole tree, disappears. So that's nice. And then one other thing I wanted to mention is the polymorphic wand. And we have the advanced polymorphic wand. What this does is it changes animals to different things, either hostile or passive animals. So let's open up a little thing. It does need the fluid, and it can do up to 8 buckets. So let's grab a bucket. I think we're gonna need some water. So if we search for polymorphic fluid, it's just water, and then you put in the polymorphic catalyst. So we're gonna need 8 of those, and let's grab... Actually, I'm just gonna do it over here. So water goes down, you throw in one of those catalysts and it changes the thing, and I believe you can just right click to pick it up. So now this has 1 bucket of polymorphic fluid inside. So you do that 8 more times to fill it up. And if you ever want to find any of the books on the mods, you can search for this thing. Just search patch. If you do @patch, it'll bring up all of the books that are in here. So if we search for that, I do have the JustDireThings ones, and you can look through here for some of the upgrades and stuff. And if we take a look at the polymorphic wand, you can see this one has targeted polymorph. You can shift right click on any mob to save that type of mod to the wand, and then activate the effect to convert any mob to that. So that is pretty cool. So that means, let's say something like squids, right? If I want inks or whatever, you can get that from the fisher, but that requires getting into industrial foregoing a little bit, and this will get you those kinds of fishy things. But we can also grab those mobs that we had over here. So here's a sheep, for example, and I'm gonna want my shrinking device to turn it back into a normal size. By the way, these guys do not have to be the smallest. Like, you can have it be even on 0, and then when you tag it, you can still pick it up. I wonder if you can even do it super big. So I make this guy gigantic, and he still goes in the bottle. So anyways, we'll make him normal sized. Now I can right click this guy, and he turns into a frog, sheep, pig, pufferfish, interesting, tadpole, dolphin, A llama. Interesting. Axolotl. So I'm going to go through. Hey, we have a panda. Until I get something like... a fish, for example. I'm going to need some fish, right? So I right click and now the target is going to be cod. And I can kill him to get a piece of cod. Now let's grab more. Actually, let's grab the emerald gateway. Gateway of the Emerald Grove or whatever. And I'm going to spawn this and it'll give us all those passive mobs. Alright, there are all those things. Now, I can go through and change all these guys to fish. I don't know why that guy changed to a cat. Maybe if you do it too fast, it doesn't work. So that gives us some fish. So that's another way we can get fish without having to do that. That is going to be useful for us. So you can do that to like get squid, for example, and then, you know, constantly duplicate squids. I'm going to use this to make the vegetable noodles from Farmer's Delight. And this is going to give us the nourishment effect, which we can put on a pylon. So since it's 5 minutes and we need an hour, that means we're going to have to make 12 of these things. And I need 12. Oh, it's the vegetable one, so I don't need anything. The cabbage seeds can be bought from the market. So let's buy that. By the way, if you didn't know, if you're playing on a server, the market has spawn eggs and stuff, some different trades on servers than it does in single player. In single player, you don't have very many things. Like it's literally like 13 things. Now we can grow these cabbage seeds on our fun little thing, and then I'm going to activate my twerking thing, and all of those are going to go inside of our chests. So if we take a look here, we have 9 cabbage. These soils also speed up the growth. So this is a great way to set up farms for like mystical agriculture, because it'll make it faster and auto harvests. And I wonder if red fertilizer works on it. Let's see. All right, red fertilizer, do you go? It does not. Red fertilizer does not work on the JustDireThings farmland. But this does make it faster anyway, so I do think it's still probably better. So we've got a stove from Farmer's Delight, and we're going to put the cooking pot on top, and this will allow us to cook things in it. So we've got the cabbage, the carrots, and the mushrooms, and then we just need some pasta. And pasta's pretty easy. We'll need a cutting board, of course, and some kind of cutting knife. That diamond one is pretty easy. And then to make the wheat dough, we can just use this egg recipe, and we'll put this in our offhand and just do this. So that gives us 12 pasta that we can put in here, and you can see it is starting to cook. Oh, by the way, guys, time in a bottle. Time in a bottle. It has its original recipe, so it's super cheap. You can literally make this like the first day you start sieving, and this definitely make one. And as it sits there in your inventory, over time it'll store time, like it'll accumulate time, seconds, and then you can use it to speed up different machines and stuff. So very, very useful. Definitely keep that. It's like a time wand, but instead of using time fluid, it just uses the stored time. And when you use it, the stored time goes down. And then we're going to grab our potion filter and put that in our offhand. And let's turn off this guy. So we don't want our backpack to feed us. And let's see if we can... we're too full to eat this. If we stand here, we constantly take damage. That means we can eat it. And now you can see that nourishment effect is going on our potion filter. So as our saturation goes down, as we take damage here, we should be able to eat this as soon as our hunger goes down. So now we have 600 seconds on there. And I'm just going to do this until I consume all 10 of these vegetable noodles, and then we should get the nourishment effect. The reason why I'm using vegetable noodles is because it has a 5-minute time on it, and that's the longest one you get. So if you take a look, these ones all give nourishment, but there's like 1 minute, 3 minute, and this is the easiest one to get, in my opinion. All right, our potion filter of nourishment is fully active. And now when we put it in there, you can see our hotbar turns into the gold one. Now, you can see as I take damage, we don't lose saturation or anything. And if I run around and jump or whatever, we'll never use hunger or saturation again. So this eliminates the need for having to ever eat, which is super convenient. All right, well, I think that's where I'm going to leave it for this episode. We just had a lot of random things that I wanted to get out of the way so we could move forward. Like, you know, having to go to the end is always boring, but it's something that you always have to do in every mod pack. So I did do some of these Eclipse alloy stuff. I really don't love it. So I think maybe even as soon as the next episode, we might already move away from these armors and stuff. The weapon does such little damage. Like you can make the refined obsidian Paxel, and this one does 17 attack damage, whereas this one only does 9. And the Paxel is even worse at 7. So like this does less damage than our osmium Paxel we had before. So I do want to get a better way of doing damage, and that will likely be Ars Nouveau. So anyways, stay tuned for that. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next episode.